So my entire life, I have always had this deep intuitive feeling that I was going to live in California, and grow up. I was watching The Hills and Laguna Beach on MTV, and I used to love the OC, and even Saved by the Bell when I was 8 years old. Was filmed, I think, in California, and I think they even went to Malibu High School. But I've always had this deep intuitive feeling, and I believe we are all born with this gift to really respect that intuitive feeling and to trust my gut. A lot of times we second guess ourselves and we get caught up in our thoughts that prevent us from trusting our intuition. But the matter of the fact is we all have this power. We all have this psychic ability, and it's really about digging deep into it. So, manifestation. In 2012, I, at the time, was working for Marriott, and I was a sales coordinator, and I really wanted to be a sales manager, and I really, 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 really wanted to move out of the state of Florida. I just had my heart on, like, yeah, I'm young, like, let's do this, let's move, and I was applying to all these jobs out of the state of Florida, and I also took a few trips that year to see if I saw myself living in a few places. I went to Boston, wasn't for me. I went to Maryland, wasn't for me. I went to DC, wasn't for me. And also last on my list to visit, because it was a very expensive trip, was going to LA. And when I went to LA, I actually stayed in Marina del Rey. I had seen all of Hollywood, West Hollywood, Santa Monica, parts of Venice. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see Abbot Kinney until now I live here, which I love Abbot Kinney. It's so cool. I had saw Malibu, which I thought was stunning, and I went for the day to Laguna Beach, where I cried and was like, I'm going to get married here. But when I went on this trip, I kind of came back to to Florida, and I didn't really love California. I didn't really love my experience. I mean, yeah, I thought Malibu was stunning and Laguna, but I thought, well, maybe my intuition was wrong. Maybe I'm not supposed to live here. Well, the thing is that I have the experience that I did because I was never supposed to live in California at that time in my life. I was meant to, become a sales manager and get a job in Miami and live in South Beach, which truly transformed me professionally, personally, healed me. I got certified in yoga. I met incredible people, amazing life experiences, which enabled and prepared me mentally for the transition eventually to California. So years later, it is now 2014, or not 2014, excuse me, 2015. So this was last year. And I hadn't been to California since. And I had a trip in April for Tour Connection. And what that is in the hotel industry, Tour Connection is a trade show for all the entertainment and production travel agents, and us hoteliers go for a weekend. And I stayed in at the W in what is it? Brentwood, I think it is, over by UCLA. And I absolutely fell in love all over again with California. Just the energy was so intertwined with who I was personally. It was a different experience. I am a very different person in 2015 than I was in 2012. Emotionally, like physically, spiritually, mentally, so many ways. So I had a very different experience this time. I took an Uber, went to Santa Monica, I rented a bike, I bike ride the whole coast, and I really fell in love with LA all over again. But I couldn't figure out like the sensation I was feeling. When I got back to Miami, I felt this like longing and this weird feeling in my gut about missing LA on a deeper level. And I couldn't really figure out where it was coming from. And how I can explain it to you is if you've ever had to leave a loved one for a long period of time, maybe you have a boyfriend and you have to go travel for a few weeks or a few months, or you meet your soulmate and then you find out you have a job and you're moving out of the country, or you're a parent and you have a child and your child is going away for a few months, or they're sick and in the hospital. Whatever the situation is, that longing feeling is how I felt about LA. So I took a little bit of time to meditate on it, and it became very clear to me that I was being prepared for this transition to LA. Of course, I was like, oh my God, what does this mean? I don't know. I felt like it was so far away, so I didn't really think too much into it. Well, in May of 2015, I accepted a job with a hotel company that was headquartered actually in San Francisco, and a huge part of the team actually, lived in California. And I remember thinking, like, God, I wonder if this hotel company is going to bring me to California. I felt this intuitive feeling to take that job, and I had a dream about that job. So as time goes, it's now September of 2015, and I'm coming back in September for a road show with all of my team on the West Coast, as well as myself, a few East Coasters, and what we do is we started in San Diego and we went all up the coast. So San Diego, a little bit in the OC, and then we lasted the last few days in LA. And we did this in 5 days to see all our clients and visiting them and doing some serious networking for a few days. Well, when I went on this trip in September, which is so funny that I uncovered these papers that I had folded and put away, because this week that I flew to LA was actually, I flew in that Sunday before Labor Day weekend. And on this trip, it was very different. I had this intuitive feeling that I was going to meet someone that was going to bring me to California and the next step of my career. But I couldn't figure out I don't know who or what. I couldn't figure it out, but that's what I thought. And again, that all ties back to divine guidance, really paying attention to your thoughts. Okay, guys, really pay attention to this. So I'm in California, and I have some friends, previous clients of mine that live in San Diego. So I thought, let me fly in a little early, check out the vibe. I did all of San Diego, of course, downtown. I ventured out into Coronado. I did PB. I did, Sunset Cliffs, and just kind of ventured out. And I didn't energetically feel that I was meant to live in San Diego. Going up the coast, I've always loved Laguna Beach, but I didn't feel the connection either in the OC. Then our last stop was in LA, which I had kind of already explained to you some of the cities that I had seen in LA, and we were staying in Studio City, and I also was kind of man, I didn't meet, it was my second to last day. It was maybe that Thursday. I was supposed to fly out that Saturday, and I remember thinking, God, I don't really feel like I belong here in LA. I don't really feel like I belong here in California. There's nothing that I felt like this is where I'm going to live, And it was very interesting because I kept having this repetitive thought that I needed to see Manhattan Beach. And it kept pestering me and pestering me. And I kept disregarding it. I kept ignoring it. And that Friday, the rest of my team had flown already, back to where they were living, and I flew out that Saturday because I kind of wanted the afternoon in California. And during that Friday, my global sales director invited me to a lunch with a client and brought her best friend, who is the person that I met that brought me to California a few months later. So although I thought I didn't meet that person, I kind of did, and I didn't know. Well, that Friday at 5 o'clock, I had come back from this lunch, and I kept having this pestering thought to see Manhattan Beach that it was quite irritating for me. And I said, okay, universe, you got my attention. You have annoyed me enough. Whatever, I'll see Manhattan Beach. So I went on AmericanAirlines.com. I was supposed to fly out that Saturday at 10 a.m. and I changed my flight very last minute. It was 5 o'clock, and it was Labor Day weekend, so I couldn't stay and fly back Monday because it was too expensive because I cheated on points. And so I flew back on Sunday, booked my hotel at the Manhattan Beach Marriott, where I got a discount because I used to work for Marriott. Thank you, Brian. And spent the weekend in Manhattan Beach. Had an Uber pick me up from Studio City early Saturday morning. And the minute that I got into Manhattan Beach, I was blown away in no other sensation I've ever felt in my entire life. The moment I saw and felt the energy in Manhattan Beach, I was like, holy shit, I am going to live here. I can feel it. And it was really weird for me. So it was a little overwhelming how much I've worked on my intuition over the years and how much it's really paid off. So spent the weekend. I went and saw like Palos Verdes, which I thought was stunning. I rented a bike, rode it on the Strand, all through Manhattan Beach to Hermosa to Redondo and back. And I was like, no, I don't feel Redondo. No, I don't feel Hermosa. I was like, no, Manhattan Beach is where it's at, guys. That's where I felt it. Went to the Strand House. It was my first restaurant ever in Manhattan Beach. I went to Beach House Yoga, which at the time was Guru's Gate Yoga. Now it's Beach House Yoga. And I don't know, I just fell in love with the culture, the beach community. It was exactly what I was looking for, and the lifestyle and the energy, it was just there. So I knew at that moment I was completely guided by the universe to get a little taste of where I was going to live. Now, going back to Florida, I was actually really sad on my plane ride, but I got back to Miami, which I got back to Miami, and my lease was up that month in September in Miami, and I emailed my owner, and I said, Lily, I have this feeling I'm going to be, or what did I say? It says, I think I'm going to be taking a job, or I think I'm going to be moving to California, or I have a feeling I'm going to be moving there. And she said, oh, you know, okay, and I was like, can I please do a 6-month lease? I asked if I could do a 6-month lease, and, you know, she agreed to it. Well, of course I got back, and I was like, okay, I feel like I'm going to live in Manhattan Beach. I feel like I'm going to live in California, but, like, I don't know what to do. Do I look for a job? Like, do I look online? I started getting all these, like, conflicting emotions about that deep intuition that I felt about Manhattan Beach, right? Which is normal. So I had, a few weeks after my trip, I had a dream of me riding my beach cruiser in Manhattan Beach on the Strand with, like, my hair blowing in the wind. And I woke up from the dream and I was like, okay, no, I am going to live there. I can feel it. But of course, when you take a huge step, like moving across the country, you don't know what to think. It's very scary. Long story short, I started to then decide on, okay, I feel this feeling. How am I going to manifest? Because here's the thing is, guys, I'm a firm believer of what's meant to be will be, but also I do believe that the universe gives you what you want, when you can handle, and what you think. So although I could feel that I was going to be prepared to move there and I was going to live in Manhattan Beach, had I thought negative things like, oh, I'm not going to live there, or I don't want to go, I have free will. The universe, it's the law of attraction. So I will say that, okay? Yes, things are meant to be, but also we do have free will and freedom to attract different routes. But no matter what, the right route will, like, no matter what route you take, there's no wrong or right. It will always work out in the end. And if you're meant to be somewhere, it will happen at some point. So, all these papers. I felt so strong about this transition to California that I was like, I'm going to write all of my manifestations. Yes, there's a lot in here that has nothing to do with my move, but it's okay. I'll share that with you guys soon. So I wrote everything that I wanted, right? And I pasted it on my wall. So every morning when I sat down to go to the bathroom, which is an every morning thing for me, I had no choice but to read everything and attract the energy of what I desired. I had looked for a few jobs online, but nothing really called for me. And I decided I really don't want to look for a job. I really just wanted to just fall into my hands. I don't feel like trying. That's what I really wanted. So I wrote it down. So First, I started, I'm really big into mantras because that is also manifesting, right? Clearing blockages, get the universe on your side. I wrote, I am financially stable, safe, and secure. My income is constantly growing. So by me saying that, I already put that intention out to the universe that I'm safe, like nothing bad is going to happen to me where I'm at, and I'm going to make more money. Okay? The next thing, my vision. New, and I put, what do you call it, the S with the, no, dollar signs. New dollar signs, happiness, and love. New money, job, health, wellness, changing people's lives spiritually, health, mind, body, and soul, creativity with a safe and stable income in line with my soul's mission, a job where I have freedom to be my own boss or where I'm free to be who I am while making a great source of income. Live, question mark, California. Ideally live in Manhattan Beach. Have a cute little puppy. I will feel safe and secure and happy and content and close to the beach. Total bliss. I am open to your guidance. So, two things. My vision for my job. Although I transition in a hotel-based position, that doesn't mean that this doesn't still apply. Because also being in the position that I'm in, working from home, I do have that freedom to be who I am. I'm not micromanaged, and also work on my YouTube channel, on my free time to change people's lives, right? To live, I put California, ideally in Manhattan Beach, because although I felt that intuitive desire like I was going to live there, I wanted to let the universe know that it's okay, that I feel this and I see it and I know it, but I don't want to be disappointed and let down, so I'm open to your guidance, which is what I ended it with. I'm open to your guidance. So that if the universe felt it was best for me to be somewhere else, for example, Santa Monica, because my future husband lives there, then they'll make it happen. Also about my job. Freedom to travel, see my family, and move to California paid by the company. Well, since I work from home, I do have the freedom to travel and see my family in Florida. That was a priority for me. Move to California paid by the company. I got a portion of relocation. I didn't get the whole thing paid, but that's okay. It wasn't meant to be, right? And then this is about love, which doesn't really have to do with this YouTube video, which I'll discuss later about manifesting. But I let go of the income, or excuse me, I let go of the outcome. I surrender the outcome of money. I welcome new finances and an abundance of money to overflow into my life. I surrender all fears and welcome my new job, finances, and everything that is for my highest good. So I wrote that because I let the universe know that I'm surrendering the outcome. Because sometimes, they like to teach us lessons, and if we hold on to things too tight, they don't really work in our favor. And that's happened so many times to me, and letting go and letting God has been definitely not the easiest transition for me, because I want to control everything, because I'm a control freak. So surrendering the outcome of moving to California. I didn't want to get so stuck on the concept, because that doesn't do me good, personally. Surrendering the outcome of money. Knowing, that's me knowing. I welcome the abundance of money to overflow, and I surrender all fears, and I welcome a new job, finances, and everything that is for my highest good, which is basically saying, look guys, I know that there could be 5 job opportunities presented to me, but what's for my highest good? Huh? Tell me, show me. I let go of old fears about money. I welcome and I am open to how the universe will provide for me. So this is really great, and basically letting the universe know that I'm not going to be afraid about money. I'm going to let that shit go, and I'm going to basically be open to how you're going to bring it to me, how you're going to provide. I know I'm going to get it, but how are you going to give it to me? I'm open, okay? This was big for me, guys. I let go of the outcome of when, how, and where I'm supposed to go and be. I know I am carefully guided to my next step. So when you start to think about having a new job or new finances or new money, okay, the universe starts to present things to you. It doesn't mean that they're the right choices. They just are starting to give you options. Ultimately, you have the choice, right? So I just wanted to let the universe know that I let go of the outcome of where I'm supposed to go and be, and I know that I'm carefully guided to my next step. As in, intuitively, I knew Manhattan Beach was coming for me, but I wanted to really let go of the outcome of how it was going to happen, my next step, and I asked to be carefully guided, okay? Carefully guided. Money is stable for me, continuously growing for me, and I let go about how I will receive it or more of it. So anyone who worries about money or stability or has high bills to pay or money coming in, money coming out, made some bad financial decisions, I always keep consistent about money being stable, okay? Not necessarily always being like, I want. No, money is stable, continuously growing, and I let go of how I'm going to receive it. It's the law of attraction, okay? Here's another one. Sorry, because there's some stuff here about like love, relationships, things like that, that will be on another video. So the last one is, I accept what is for my highest good. I am currently guided to my next step financially, and it will be easy and effortless for me. Easy and effortless. In December, I got a message on Facebook from that woman that I had met through my colleague, okay, and said, hey, are you still interested in moving to California? Because I had mentioned that at our lunch, like casually, because we're in conversation about California. And I said, yes, why? She said, well, I have an opportunity for you. Easy and effortlessly. I didn't want to have to work for it. I wanted the job to come to me. I didn't want to have to bother or stress to figure out what job it was. I wanted it to be easy and effortless. So if you want things and you want it to come easy, ask for it. Okay. I think I read them all. This is great too. Well, this is kind of when I moved to LA, but okay, whatever. I'll just still do it. That'll be on part 2, actually. Part 2, which you'll have to stay tuned for next week, will be what I wrote about the process of moving to LA and how I attracted certain little things here, which you'll see. So yeah, guys, that's basically my story, how I ended up in California. That is how I set my intentions. That is how I manifested this transition. And I am a firm believer on manifestation. I feel so strongly about the law of attraction, about the universe. Yes, unfortunately, things do take a little bit of action. So if you sit here and say, okay, well, you know, I want to be a millionaire, okay, what else is there? You know, I want to be a millionaire doing what I love. And if it's for my highest good, make it easy for me. I believe in you, universe. I release the negative thoughts. So being a millionaire, maybe you meet your future husband who's a millionaire, or maybe you win the lotto. You don't know how the universe is going to give you things sometimes. So I am super passionate about manifestation. It is just, if you really guys, if you really get your shit together and do it, it is awesome. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It has been such a pleasure.